Honestly, I can't even say that I was disappointed watching this because I truly expected to not like it like whatsoever, and I guess I just got what I thought I would get. Like, this isn't the worst movie ever. It's just not very far from it, to be honest. Even putting aside the fact that it's a dog shit adaptation of an amazing product, it's also just like way too short. Like, I'm happy that it's so short because that means I didn't have to suffer for that long. But damn, like, the movie doesn't even give itself the time to tell a compelling story. It just jumps from one story beat to the next, and there's like zero room to breathe. And even if you go into this having never seen Death Note, you'll probably still be confused as to why the fuck everything is moving so fast, and why are these characters just going from kind of semi-normal to just batshit crazy in the span of like 20 minutes, and just kind of switching back and forth from batshit crazy to normal, which, if you've seen the anime or read the manga, you probably understand what they're trying to do, but if you haven't, then you're not really gonna know what they're trying to do. And other than trying to emulate the original characters and doing a very bad job at it, there really isn't much of an explanation as to why the fuck everything is so jarring. This movie opens on a drone shot of fucking Seattle, so I already know this shit's gonna be some ass. I don't mind relocating because this is supposed to be a retelling for a Western audience. I guess it was to be expected, but damn, does changing location mean that every character need to be completely different? At that point, just tell a different story so you don't have this shit associated with Death Note. Then they also do the whole like nerd is in love with the popular cheerleader bullshit, and I'm about ready to turn this shit off at that point. There's literally no way the people who wrote this watched a single episode of the original show or read a single page of the manga if Light Yagami is synonymous with fucking simp in their brains. Like, there is literally not a further concept that I would associate to Light Yagami than simp. This dude literally manipulate and uses his love interest the entire motherfucking show, and it's so clear that he does not care about her, and he never does. And even if you're like, well, maybe he does a little bit, bro, to the extent that this fucking dude is doing, although this is supposed to be Light Turner, horrendous name by the way, feel bad if that's your name, so I guess it's okay, whatever, man. That shit pissed me off so fucking much, but at the same time it really didn't piss me off. It's just like, when I look at it from the lens of like, this is an adaptation, I'm like, okay, this is not Light whatsoever. But then when I look at it from like, okay, this is just the Death Note fell in Seattle instead of, you know, Japan, it's like, okay, maybe it fell into the hands of an incel who, I don't know. Even Mia seems more like Light than Light does though, and Light is a fucking idiot, so it really isn't a high bar, but I just thought I'd mention it. L is also another character that's just fucked. Like, yeah, I guess they made him really quirky and like, okay, good job guys, like clap it up, you got that part of him semi right, but then you already make him way more caring than his original counterpart, and it's like, you guys completely missed a fucking point. L is supposed to be calm and calculating at basically all times, because he's confident at basically all times. But in this, he's kind of just wildly flipping between calm and wildly out of control, and that's just not who the character is whatsoever. If you're gonna make him into who he's quote unquote supposed to be, right, the calm, calculated, doesn't give a fuck, only takes the facts into consideration type of character that he is, but then you turn around and you make him into this very caring, very like stressed person, it's like, that's not, like, which character are you adapting? And if you're not adapting L, then why are you making him essentially who L is, and then stripping away part of his character to add in like some shit that just is contrary to the character? It doesn't make sense. It literally makes no sense. I felt the need to compare L to his original more so than the others, because they're not as far off with him as they are with the other main characters. Like, they clearly tried to adapt him as closely as possible, but then they just did some weird shit for some reason. Honestly, none of the characters act like they're supposed to, and it's just fucking misleading. Because, like, sure, these aren't supposed to be one-for-one recreations, or at least there's no fucking way they're supposed to be. But damn, these are literally bastardized versions of every single one of them. Like, there's no exception, except maybe Ryu sometimes. He's more antagonistic than I remember, but it's not a change that I'm, like, as upset about compared to all the other unnecessary ones, so I'll let it slide. The movie's also covered in this, like, constant, just, like, dark, gloomy filter, which, yeah, okay, it fits the mood, but damn, is it boring to watch. You know, I understand having like a constant mood, constant like thing going for your movie. But then, you know, when it's not good to look at, I feel like maybe you should rethink it. The only times when sometimes the movie is visually appealing is whenever Ryu pops up, because he's pretty creepy looking, I guess. Not like it's actually scary or even as unnerving as the original, but he's at least interesting to look at because they stuck pretty close to the original design, so I guess I'll give him that. I mean, I guess if they fucked that up, it's just like, come on, bro. I feel like this movie had no idea what it wanted to be other than bad. It keeps switching between this is an adaptation of Death Note and this is an original story with aspects pulled from Death Note. And at least if they committed to one of those ideas, I could either praise them for attempting to recreate such a long and interesting story in just under an hour, which would have been shit, but you know, at least they would have tried something. Or praise them for trying something new, but this is literally just the worst of both worlds, where it just ends up being different enough that it's clearly not supposed to be a faithful adaptation. But it's also close enough that I'm sickened to even think about having this shit be associated with the original product, because it's such a far cry from what it's supposed to be, if it's supposed to be a faithful adaptation. They also had the audacity to end on a cliffhanger too. Like, I'm fucking appalled. I don't know whose idea that was, but
cocaine's a hell of a drug.
This shit doesn't deserve anything over a 2, and even the 2 is being generous. Let's just stop trying to adapt anime and manga into live action properties, unless we're actually willing to commit to how long and how crazy these stories get, because this half-ass shit is absolutely not interesting to no one. It's not even so bad that it's good, it's just bad.